Business, a person's occupation, profession, or trade. Connection, a relationship in which a person or idea is linked or associated with something else. Welcome to Business Connection. Each week, our program will offer inspiration to navigate the business world. Information you can use to succeed in any field. And we will help you focus on your goals. Join us now for Business Connection with your host, B.C. Clark.
Hello and welcome to the Business Connection. I'm your host, B.C. Clark. As you know, I interview business owners across the state. Today, my guest is Estela Torres with Keller Williams Real Estate.
Right,
Real estate company. Yeah, although this lady here, she's more than Keller Williams. So, Estela, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, good morning, everybody. And so I'm originally from Los Angeles. I came to Omaha, Nebraska 30 years ago. And when I moved here, I actually moved here homeless. So I was
I love the stories.
I stayed in my car for a few days looking for change, desperately looking for change. So that's what brought me to Omaha, Nebraska, and change I did get.
And more change did you get?
And more change, absolutely. Transformation is actually what happens.
Yeah.
Because you can always change back. But when you transform, you know, it's like the caterpillar when it goes into its cocoon and then it comes out a butterfly. It can never go back to being a caterpillar. I could never go back to being a caterpillar.
And nor do you want to.
No, of course not. No.
You've changed many lives and you've done a ton of stuff. Yes. So that's what I want to talk to you about, because this lady is transformational when you talk to her. I mean, she is inspiring, she's energetic, all the things I love about people.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think that's why we get along so well. But talk a little bit about that journey coming to where you are today. So and I think that's important.
It is. It's very important. A lot of us tell ourselves, you know, when I was in Los Angeles, I obviously left in the early 90s because LA was crazy and I was crazy with it. And so a lot of us always talk about how much we desire to change. But do we really desire to change? Because a lot of times we've been saying we've had the same desire for 5 years, you know, and you've not taken, or we've not taken one step towards that direction. So do we really want that change? You know, a lot of times we're just talking crap.
Yep.
You know, we're not really, we're just saying what sounds cool. We're saying what people want to hear from us. We're saying what even we would like to see in ourselves.
But no roots in it.
But there's no roots. There's no sacrifice. And change happens when you start taking steps. And so my step was a long step. It was like a 1,500 mile step, like, whoop, I'm going to Omaha.
What made you want to come to Omaha? I have to ask that question.
So my mom had originally told me that she wanted me to come to Omaha. And actually what happened was I was praying one night as I was going through a transformation in LA. And I was cleaning myself up. And I said, God, the pull is too strong here. What do I do to change this? Like, I feel weak. I feel like I'm going to go back. And I remember, you know, that soft inner voice that said, move. And I said, but move where? And, you know when you feel like there's a calling inside of you and you've got to go somewhere, it doesn't matter where you go. You'll be blessed wherever you go.
If you follow that call, that's right.
That's right. The territory you step on is not by coincidence. It's by God incidence. So wherever you land, it was planned for you to be there, even if it was by the throw of a dart, which is what ended me up here.
Yes.
That I threw a dart and it landed in the Pacific Ocean, so I knew I couldn't live in the middle of water. And my second dart landed between Nebraska and Iowa. Wow. So I knew it was, you know, my mother praying for me, and I also knew that it was destiny that I would be here. So I moved. It took me, I turned in my 2-week resignation, and 3 weeks later I was in Omaha, and I left everything behind, family, my daughter, my parents, everything to seek that change that I really wanted to have in my life. And at the end of the day, I'm super happy about it. The struggle was hard because it's never easy.
It's never easy, yeah.
But the outcome, wow, you know?
And you know, that's when you really know that you made the right decision, because a lot of times when that call comes, you're hesitant, like, okay.
Right.
Okay, is this from who I think it's from?
Right.
You know, and you're trying to decide, is this really who? Because he would not tell me to go somewhere unless he had provision for me.
Right.
Unless he had already protection for me, unless he had all those things. So and then I listen at the other side saying, well, you should go to Tijuana.
Right.
Right?
And I would prosper in Tijuana too.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
But if it wasn't the call,
Right.
it wouldn't work.
Right.
And so I think that we have to be, and we were just talking about this, you know, if we don't know what our purpose is,
Yeah.
then we miss out on, we marry the wrong person, we have the wrong job, and
Right.
nothing seems to work. I was telling someone earlier, I said, you know, even as a leader in business, your own business, or even when you're a person who works for someone else, who are you?
Right.
Who am I? What are those things that I like? I mean, you have to find out you first.
Right.
You have to discover you. Because
Absolutely.
when you discover you, then that's when the other things happen. That's when things begin to come out.
Right.
Confidence happens.
Confidence
when you
definitely
discover,
happens.
Yes, when you discover you. And so with you on your journey, that's why I always love to hear the stories, because the stories are what move other people.
Right.
Right? And to just think, you know, someone right now is thinking to themselves, oh, you know, it's telling me to go, you know, to somewhere, but I'm afraid to go because I don't know anyone.
Yep.
And that call usually isn't just a nothing call. That call is something that there's something there for you.
Right.
But if you don't take that step, and that's what you said, I took a 1,500-mile step.
Right.
Sometimes that step is long.
It is.
But if you follow and believe, and if it's the right call, you can take that step and things begin to happen.
Right. Your legs will feel a little shaky as you're taking the step, but let me tell you, when you know you're supposed to be doing what you're supposed to be doing, it's like it's a catalyst. You know, at first it feels like this is the wrong thing to do and there's a lot of fear, but that's courage. Courage is not feeling fear. Courage is feeling the fear and doing it anyway.
Yes.
You have to build on that muscle, you know, and if you never do anything that requires you to get outside of your comfort zone, you have never exercised the courage muscle, so you can't go from one strong thing to another strong thing to another strong thing. But once you know, that 1,500-mile jump that I did, it gave me the confidence for so many things. Because I was homeless, a year later I was a homeowner. Because, you know.
Hello, that's a shout.
You know, and then I told myself, I don't only want one house. I want to own several homes because I don't want this to ever happen to me again.
Or to someone else.
Or to someone else. And so, you know, in the journey, I've discovered that I have it helped me build compassion for young people. I'm not young anymore, or as young as I moved here when I was 21.
You are young.
I was still young, but I'm not 21 anymore. But
Right.
I know that there's a lot of young people that go through difficult situations, and you know, and I can really talk to them about the journey, because the journey is the fun part. It's scary sometimes, and there's a lot of lack of confidence sometimes, but that's because we don't learn. We don't learn. In school, nobody teaches us how to have self-confidence.
They don't teach us application.
Nobody teaches us how to think, how to process our thoughts, you know, and so it's very important that we take initiative to learn how to think, to learn how to control a negative thought that is always circling our mind. You know, you can't. The truth is, you can, and that's why it's telling you you can't.
That's right.
Because,
you know, and not to cut you off, I think that, and I shouldn't have done that, but you know, we have to understand that fear don't own us.
no.
God does not give us the spirit of fear.
No.
But of power, love, and a sound mind.
Right.
We have to stand on those things because that's who we are. We were created from those things. And those things allow us to stay on the right path.
Right.
Right? Not that it's not going to be hard times, because without those hard times, we don't become who we are.
Right. The hard times help us grow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if we don't take the steps and we take each step at a time, we miss a step, we miss a season.
We sure do. We sure do. Or you know, in the process of change, there's things that happen, you know, and those things that happen, they're challenges because, you know, we're always going to be tested if we really want what we say we want.
And we can't be comfortable. I'm talking,
No.
look, buy the satin sheets and all that stuff for home, okay? But in real life, you need to have comfort and then know when it's time to get out of that comfort.
Right.
Because if you stay in comfortability, you never learn anything.
Well, just think about staying in your bed comfortably all day. What happens in a month?
Oh, you get bed sores.
You can't pay the rent.
That's right.
You know,
you can't pay the
you can't pay the
do anything.
groceries. So that it's an extreme level of comfort example. But that is what we do a lot of times. We are
Yes.
awake and we're moving around and we're busy taking care of things that, need a bill or whatever that needs to be taken care of.
Yeah.
But the core of the thing that we need to be taken care of, the business that God put in our heart, the desire that we really have to prosper.
Yeah.
And we're not even being aware that as we prosper, people around us, even strangers, prosper because they're watching us.
Yes.
We're always being watched, even when we don't know it.
Yes.
And
There's
so-
people that are assigned to us. And you may not know who they are.
Right.
You may never know, but they're watching what you do.
Right.
You're the example that God put in front of them
Right.
to follow.
Right.
And if we mess up, they mess up.
Right. Absolutely.
So that's what I would think about a lot of times. Like, I don't want to,
No.
I hear people, taking money and all this. I'm like, I'm not trying to do that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And
Just gotta live your life and not be.
I remember somebody describing fear as the acronym for false expectations appearing real. Mm-hmm. And really, what is it that we're afraid of? I think we need to analyze our thought and really say, okay, what is the feeling that I get behind this? And then write a little list down of truths and false. A lot of times we're going to catch ourselves seeing that thought brings us a lot of false.
Yes.
And false and false. Well,
Smoke screen.
What if you fail? Okay, and the opposite question is, what if you succeed? What if things go wrong? Well, what if things
They
go right?
Yeah.
And so
Why do we always have to lean to the left?
Right, exactly. So
there is the right. I agree, and that's a great analogy.
Right.
But people do. They lean to the left all the time, and then they all of a sudden get depressed, and then they don't move.
Right.
And so you have to learn that fear is not something that's there to grow you.
Right. And mistakes are not failures.
No.
And it's not bad to fail.
No.
Because in my journey, I became an entrepreneur when I was 24 when I moved. I said, the transformation I was looking here in Omaha, I got it.
Yeah. Yes.
And so when I first opened up my business, there were a lot of scary moves. A lot, like putting in everything that I had taken years to save up to open up my own little office. And the fear was, what if it fails?
Yeah.
Well, so what if it fails?
Yeah. I pick
Just
up and
how
do
I
it
made
again.
that money before, I'm gonna make it again.
That's what people forget.
Right.
How did you get here? Right?
Right.
How did you make this money to get here?
Right.
And so when you think about it, none of that scares you because you already made it.
Right.
So if you fail, it's about, okay, what do I need to do different?
Right.
And do it fast.
Absolutely. And so today, so I had, we have what's called, mindset limitations. We have a limited mindset. We have things that are very scarce in our life. If we saw our parents struggling with money like I did when I was a child, then making a lot of money all of a sudden creates a fear.
Yes.
I mean, it's crazy because
It is crazy.
we should be more afraid of being broke and staying broke than of coming up and being super successful.
Yeah.
Because we can't change the world without money. You
No.
know? And so it's not like I don't.
And money is not evil because,
No, absolutely not.
when I grew up, that was something I used to hear all the time. Mm-hmm. Oh, money is evil. And I kept thinking to myself, but money pays the bills.
Right.
But money buys the food. But
Right.
money buys the clothes. How could it be evil?
Right.
So I had to challenge myself on that for a long time.
Right.
And when you don't have it, and when you get it, then you lose it because you're not sure what to do with it.
Right.
So money is just like everything else. You have to understand it. Mm-hmm. You have to understand what it is and what it's not.
Right.
And be able to apply.
I think one of the things that we do is that we think that our money is ours.
Yeah.
And nothing is ours.
Nothing is ours.
Because when we
don't
leave,
own
what do we
anything.
take with us?
That's right.
Nothing. So nothing
Nothing.
is ours. What we are is we're stewards.
Yes.
So if you become a great steward with what you're given, I promise you it'll flow bigger and bigger. And I've seen this over the last 3 years more so
Yes.
than ever. Mm-hmm. That the more I give, the more that comes back in return.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really important that we understand, excuse me, that our money is seed.
Yes.
So our money is seed. So this is what happens. You take your seed and you put it on fertile soil. Mm-hmm. When you put it on fertile soil, that seed is always going to produce a lot of fruit. You don't put down one apple seed and you get one apple.
No.
You put down one apple seed and you get a harvest of apples. And so, so it's really important
and
to
what is our
to
number
know
one
that.
job to do? Is to be fruitful
and multiply. That's right. That's our number one job.
Yeah, that's our
like
number one job.
Agenda.
We don't work for people.
Right. Right.
Now, our talents and abilities and skills allow us to go and do this, but the job really is for us, is to just be fruitful and multiply.
Right.
And if we don't worry about how we're going to get fed and all this stuff, because he's our provider.
Right.
Right? And so sometimes we get things out of context.
Right.
And we put him behind.
Yes.
Instead of in the front, and then sometimes that's when things start going wrong.
That's right. That's when the love of money shows up. So this is how you know that you're loving money, when you're hoarding it,
Yes.
when you're afraid to spend it,
Yes.
when you're afraid to invest it, when you've made it and you don't know what to do with it, and you're just like, I want to hold on to it. That's like wanting to hold on to something that doesn't belong to you.
Yes.
Let it flow. The more you let it flow, the more it's a cycle. So it works like this. It goes out, it comes in. It goes out,
That's
it
right.
comes in.
And you got to make sure, like you said, put it in the fertile ground. You know, invest in people. Invest in what you're doing. Invest in, you know, that's how it grows.
Right.
It doesn't grow by just spending it.
Right. Invest in yourself.
Yes.
You know?
And that's what happens. A lot of times they don't. They start making money, and all of a sudden, because I always wonder, how is it that movie stars and singers and rappers and everything that started with nothing, they make all this money, they buy a house but never buy the house.
Right.
They just lease the house. So when they lose money, they lose everything.
Right.
I'm like, don't buy assets. Invest in assets.
Right.
Right? If you own them, no one can just come and take from you unless you done stole something from somewhere.
Right. And
so
even
why
then,
do people do that? Why? I mean.
Yeah, and even when you make mistakes, like, you know, committing crimes and whatnot, or, you know, getting in an accident and falling into, you know, a lawsuit, there's ways of you to protect your assets with, you know, LLCs and, you know, and putting things in
trust
and, you know, and different things. But you know, the majority of us, what we don't understand is that we need to, like, lose the fear.
Yeah.
And it's not, you never lose the fear. It's really challenging yourself to take the step with the fear. You know, go ahead and hold its hand and be like, yeah, you're right there. I see you. And we're still going to take this step.
Don't be afraid.
Right.
I think that sometimes we get afraid of the smallest things. And whenever there's something that happens, and we had a big pandemic, and so all of a sudden now we're afraid to do anything, because what if we have another pandemic? Okay, what if we have another pandemic? We're going to do the same thing that we did this time. But we're prepared now because we've had one. And if there's another one that comes up, what were we doing? What did we do to get to where we are right now?
That's right.
So people have to take applications and apply, right? They have to remember and document things. And then now that they have to be prepared. So you have to not sit there and wait for the next one to happen.
No, not at all.
What do you need to do?
You know, I think we don't live our lives understanding that this is a short ride. We think we have 1,000 years on the planet, and we don't.
We don't.
Energetically, we really have about 70 years where our bodies are going to have a lot of energy, and we're going to be able to perform and outperform the previous year and outperform the previous year, and then there comes a time for us to rest.
Yes.
And us to stop, you know, and us to build our lives. But I personally know so many people that have told me about the same dream for 10 years. And
never did nothing.
Right. So then you end up turning 65, and now it's like you're either going to have to be like Colonel Sanders and, you know, go hard and take 1,000 no's before you get a yes to your recipe, or do it when you're young. You know, do it when you have all the energy and all the creativity.
Just take the time and believe in yourself, because, you know, I think that what happens is people don't believe in themselves. So if you don't believe in yourself, how will anyone else believe in you?
Right. And sometimes we have to borrow somebody else's
Yes.
belief. You know, sometimes sometimes it's so hard for us to believe in ourselves because we all have different upbringings.
Yes.
You know, so some of us had the parents that were really, you know, supportive with us and always telling us how great we were going to be, and then we have the left side of it, which we had, you know, the parents that were abusive.
You're never going to be anything.
You know, you're never going to be anything, or you're stupid, or you know, you were called a fool all the time, or, you know, just like, you know, what's up, fool? You know, it's like you really need to shake out of that and start looking at yourself and start borrowing. You know, we always have a tribe that loves us.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we find them at church, sometimes we find them in the workplace, sometimes we find them in mentorship, but there's always somebody that tells us. Everybody has somebody that tells them, I believe in you, no matter what you're going through. You've got to transform this. You know, you might be starting from the pit, because some of us have to hit rock bottom. I had to hit rock bottom before I had to come up, you know, and so sometimes when we're down there, it's the pastor that's believing in you. It's somebody from the church choir that's believing in you. It's your grandmother that's believing in you. It's your mom that's believing in you. You know, hold on to that. Look at that and be like, tell me more about me. You know, tell me what you see in me. Because sometimes we don't see that in ourselves. You know, and so.
I'm telling you, I have to tell you this. I think I was like about 22. And, you know, when I was going to high school and stuff like that, I was real skinny, and my eyes bulged outside of my head. So people used to call me Frog Eyes. And so I got to the point where I was just in a complete shell. I think I was about 22, and I think I was still looking at the ground. I was like, I couldn't look in people's eyes. And I was a lady. I could not tell you what her face looks like right now. And I mean, I was walking, and I mean, I don't know. And then she had her thumb on my chin, and this was a battle. She was trying to get me to look up, and I was so used to looking down. And finally, she looked in my eyes, and she said, "If you could only see what I see." And things didn't change overnight. I could not tell you what that lady looked like. I was afraid to even look up, and I didn't ever see her back. I remember that she kept, those words kept coming to me. Over years, it took years. You know, sometimes you have to peel all of the stuff off, all the things that people have called you all these years and things like that to really find yourself. But that's why I think it's important that, you know, not only as women, but as people, you need to know who you are.
And you know,
and believe.
And it does take time to shed off what people have told you. But you know, this is the thing. By the way, I've always thought your eyes are one of your most beautiful features. But isn't that crazy how that can be that way?
Oh my God.
You know, me, when I was younger, you know, I get compliments on my hair all the time now. But when I was younger, people would make fun of my hair all the time. They'd be like, "Comb your hair, do something with your hair." Like, you know, look at all that bush, look at all
how
that
beautiful
curl,
it is
know?
right now.
And now I'm like, I don't even do
Those
anything.
beautiful locks.
You know, I really don't do much to it.
But that was it, and I hated my eyes forever.
Right, I remember.
I used to feel like
I used to pray for straight hair. Why didn't you give me straight hair, God?
But you know what? All that's designed for us to start putting into ourselves, and that's why a long time I wasn't a proponent of self-care. I said, "Oh, that's just for people who can afford it." But it's for everybody.
Right.
And you have to care enough about yourself to want to see yourself different.
Absolutely. You know, when I go to the nail salon and I see guys at the nail salon, I always feel so great when I see them there.
I do too. I love it.
It's maintenance. Like, you know, us girls, we need maintenance. We need to be okay with saying, I need maintenance. I need a massage every now and then.
I need maintenance.
You know, I need some nail care. Right, you know, things that make us feel good, because those things are gonna, you know, help us feel better about ourselves.
Yes.
And then believing in ourselves is very important. I remember not too long ago, it's been less than 12 months. Where, you know, as you are coming up in the world, of course, you know, your surroundings keep on changing. The people that you meet keep on changing. And I remember feeling like I have nothing to offer people that are really wealthy because I'm not there yet. So I went through these exercises not too long ago. I did a class in San Diego where we were doing exercises to remove limiting beliefs. And I sat at this table, and I saw how I inspired all these people that were making way more money than I was. And I heard God ask me, "Who inspired you?" And I honestly was inspired by one person who was able to, like, you know, I was having an allergy reaction, and she's a skin doctor, so she looked at she inspired me with that. But like, nobody really inspired me, and God asked me, "And who did you inspire?" Because, you know, I've been through the loss of a child, and I was run over by a car, and I wear a long leg brace, and I still went up and down a mountain, and I still did a zip line, and I still did, you know, a walk on a zip line. And so as I was sitting there, you know, I had a paradigm shift at that table when God asked me, "Who did you inspire?" And then, you know, and then I understood I have a lot to offer.
Yes.
Why would I ever think that I don't have enough to offer?
Because that's how we've been made to believe for years, that we don't, if someone is up here, we're here, we don't. I'm going to tell you something that's one of those paradigm shifts that happened for me. I hate to do this, but I've got to do it. I was at an event, and I had gotten an email, said to go to this event. Well, I thought I was just going to that event. It was the event that Governor Ricketts was at.
Okay.
It was the time that they had came up, the two senators had came up with this legislation that was going to bring money into North and South Omaha. That didn't happen. Anyway, so he was calling people's names, and they came up and they got a copy of the legislation. And the governor signed it and took a picture with you.
Okay.
So I saw the people that he was calling, you know, the big leaders, and then my name was called.
Of course.
So I thought I didn't hear, and then so I was looking around and I was like, the governor just called your name. So I went up and I didn't, I mean, I was like, so got it, you know, took the picture. And somebody sent me the picture later because I wasn't prepared for that, right? Somebody sent me the picture later, and I was talking to somebody, and I said, I can't believe, you know, all these people got called. They're, you know, big people in the community, and my name got called. And she said, yeah, she said, so what God is showing you that you think you have to equal these people. He was showing you that you already equal those people.
Right.
And that he was the one who was elevating you, not the people.
That's right.
Changed my life.
Does. And we need experiences like that, but how will you ever get an experience like that if you don't even put yourself in that room?
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
I remember, you know, and here I speak to the people that feel less, you know, the people that feel like they're an outcast or a misfit, or, you know, because of whatever history they have, they don't fit in, okay? I was that person. I remember, you know, when I first hired, I did hire a business coach that has helped me transform my life. Invest in yourselves. And I remember she told me, you need to start doing some networking events, right? And so I was like, oh, okay. So I go to my first networking event. I get ready. I show up, and the nerve comes in. Like, you wouldn't think that because I'm talking to you, and like I'm not camera shy, and like I'm not shy in front of my own crowd. But whenever I get into a different crowd, I get like a little holdback. Not so much anymore. Now I feel like a whole lot more confident, but I used to get like a lot of holdback. Took me an hour to get ready, half hour to get there, and I walk in this room, I walk in the front door, you know, I'm wearing hot pink, of course, you know, it's gonna call attention, all eyes on me, and I couldn't handle the pressure, so I walk out the back door, I'm not even there for 10 seconds, and I get in my car and I literally started crying. I was like, why is it that I feel like this around, you know, whatever type of people? And so I called my coach, and she said, Stella, celebrate. Yeah. When was the last time you got ready to go to an event like that? And that changed me. That was another paradigm shift, you know, where it's like, wow, you know, the next time, so this is what I say about that courage muscle. The courage was to show up. I showed up. I might have walked out the back door.
That day. That was all supposed to happen.
Right, it was all supposed to happen that day. The breakdown, the how I was feeling, and because the next time, you know, that I went, I stayed. And not only did I stay, I got up and I talked. And not only did I get up and I talk, I went ahead and it was more, it was inspiring. People were like listening. And so that was the last time. That was the last time. That was the last time I felt like that. But
I tell you what, it is, I kind of like to have the show go on and on, but anyway, our time is up. So, but Estela, thank you so much for being here. I love how you've inspired the audience today. I love how you shared your story and really let people know that, you know what, none of us are there.
Right.
We're never there. And we're always grinding to help other people get there, right?
Right.
So I thank you so much for being able to be here and share with the audience. And I thank you for watching us. This is amazing. And so just keep watching. You'll learn more. You'll hear more. I hope some of these things really helped you today. So until the next time, you be safe. Don't be afraid, and find out who you are.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's an honor being here.
Thank you.